Individual performances. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of, a lot of guys played well, I think. Whether it's consistently throughout the ball game kind of remains to be seen, but I think the answer to that question would probably be also yes. There's things to correct. Probably, I don't think that, they played, as well as they're capable. I thought they were, I don't know, it's just traveling or, whatever it was, but I know they're a better football team than that and didn't play as well as I know they're capable of. So, that kind of goes into the equation as well. But, yeah, we did some good things. I thought defensively, what was impressive to me is, or important to me, is that we came out defensively, got 3 consecutive 3-and-outs, which has been a little bit of a nemesis. We were good on third down. We did give up, the score we gave up was the result of a miserable play on our special teams. I thought our special teams, took a step back today, probably took ourselves for granted a little bit and shouldn't have. Offensively, same thing. Offense went down, scored 3 consecutive times, I believe. And so we were, we stayed on schedule, let me put it that way. So I thought we played okay. Because I didn't put them on the field. Hopefully they'll be ready to go next week. I'm banking on that.
Any update on Dalton?
Not yet. I think he's going to be all right. I just don't know how quickly we'll get him back.
But you always say you take what the defense gives you. Last week it was a pass. Today you came out and running the ball. Did you want to establish the run right away?
Well, it's again, it's not a matter of wanting to establish the run as much as it is, trying to find out what they're doing. And I thought we had a pretty good picture of, what to expect. And, we anticipated that, because I think I mentioned this to you on Tuesday, they're kind of a heavy blitz team, and indeed they got into that pretty heavily and played heavy fronts against us to defend against the run. So, it was kind of picking and choosing the things we wanted to. I was pleased. The significant part of the game was I was pleased with our ability to run the ball against, teams that are kind of, or not teams, but schemes that are stacked against the run. And I thought we were reasonably productive with that. So I was pleased about it.
Coach, Kendall gets the pick 6 and scoops up a fumble for the touchdown. Is he starting to become kind of the defensive leader that you're really looking for out of him this season?
Well, from a leadership standpoint, he still has some work to do. But, as far as stepping up and playing and making plays like he did today, I thought, and it's not just, the turnovers that he was invested in. It was just, how well he played the other facets of the game as well. And for the most part, played well.
Coach, what pleased you so much about Jesse Ertz today?
Same thing. I thought he, handled everything well. His execution was good. He threw the ball reasonably well. Once again, probably the same number. I thought last week there were 3 plays that he'd like to have back, 3 throws, and I think the number was the same this week as well. But overall, he was Jesse. Played well.
Coach, you had 47 plays last week. This week you have 74. Were you happy with that number of reps that you got with your offense?
Well, we enhanced our possession time. I'm not sure what we had, 34, 35, 6 minutes, something like that. And that's what we need to be able to do. Now, the competition is going to step up here pretty quick, so that's not always as easy as I try to make it sound. But, I was pleased. And again, it goes back to the initial 3 drives by our offense. They were, it was somewhat methodical, really. I hate to say that, but truly was. Moved the ball down the field, ran most of the time. But, that's what we need to be able to do, and I was pleased that we did.
Coach, how would you assess your 2-week cumulative effort of your offensive line?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
How would you assess the 2-week cumulative effort of the offensive line play?
I think, until we had some difficulty with our twos, late in the ball game. I thought our ones played well. For the most part, there were a few execution errors that I'm aware of right now. Find out a lot more after watching tape, but overall, I thought they did well. I thought the pass protection was pretty good. We got our assistant tight end coach here, and we didn't get the ball to the tight end today, so I'll get chastised for that.
Coach, after these 2 games, do you think these guys are ready for the first road test next week?
Well, ask me, in 7 days and a few hours. I don't know. I hope so. I'd like to think that we made improvement in the areas that we needed to make some improvement, but we uncovered some other things that have to be addressed. That's ongoing. That's going to happen throughout the season. But we'll see. We'll see.
It seemed like you also got a longer look at some second-string guys in defense today. Was there anybody on that side of the ball that stood out to you?
Well, yes, Elijah Walker. I just like the way he plays. He's doesn't hesitate. He'd get up and hit you. He'd be equally as comfortable as the linebacker as he would a free safety, and he's. I just like the way he's coming along. Done a nice job.
I just want to ask about A.J. Parker, who got to play quite a bit today. What you saw from him not only today but leading up to this.
Well, I've been impressed with A.J. in a lot of different ways. Caught my eye first on special teams and then on defense, and we moved him up through the ranks defensively, and he's really, he practices well, and he has great instincts, as well. He made a couple of breakups today that, normally you don't see guys do, and how he was able to react to thrown ball and knock balls out of hands of receivers after they'd caught the ball. It just takes a special knack, and he's pretty perceptive young guy and athletic, and does a nice job. Pleased with him.
Coach, last week you guys kind of struggled in the running game. Today you get 5 different rushes with touchdowns. I was part of it for 99 yards. Do you think that means that hard?
I have to watch the tape again to really see, but I think so. And, that's, if somebody's running the ball pretty well, there's a whole bunch of guys up front that are probably making that happen. And, if we ran it well today, then there were some guys up there that helped it happen. But I thought that Dalvin did a nice job again today. I thought, Mike had, a nice run that he got the touchdown on. Tyler's done a pretty decent job. So I think our depth was apparent, to a certain degree today at that position.
Coach, what have you seen from Nick Coltmar's play in practices leading up to today's game, and realizing there aren't anybody else to take?
Well, Nick is he's a pretty athletic young guy for an offensive lineman. He just needs to learn, what the game's all about. He's still young, just doesn't get all of it, and I think when he does and learns all the things that he's responsible for, from a fundamental standpoint, he's a pretty good player. He can, one-on-one, that type of thing. He does a decent job in practice. Just has a lot of things to still learn about the system and schemes, all that.
How would you grade Adam Holtor's play at center for your team?
Again, that's so hard for me to comment on. That's the hardest position on the field to see from where I stand. But, there are a couple of snaps in there that, certain type of blocking schemes that we have where our center or guard, one of the two, has to come off for a linebacker that penetrates very quickly, and we missed a couple of those. But outside of that, I thought he did well.
Coach, in the preseason we talked about the depth at wide receiver. Dalton Schoen was not necessarily one of those mentioned prominently. Has he surprised you, and what does he bring to your team?
Well, a great deal of consistency. That's what you say about slow guys, right? They're consistent. He's not, and he's not all that slow, but comparatively speaking, with other players that we have, just doesn't run with quite the speed. But, he's very perceptive. He understands how to process information. He reads defenses very well. He understands how to get himself open, and consequently does a nice job. And he is a little quicker than I might allude to.
Has he surprised you at all with how much he's contributed?
Nothing surprises me. Nothing. Too old for that.
Coach, you come off these 2 games, and now you guys are getting ready to go to Vanderbilt. What did you just maybe tell the guys in the locker room as you kind of look forward to this next week and going on the road?
Told them the same thing you just said. That's who we have to play next week. Well, I guess to take the humor out of it, and I think I've mentioned that in here before. When you're getting ready for that very first ball game, it seems like it'll never come, for players anyway. And so they had ample preparation time for the ball game. Then you turn into a new week, and now you're into the season, and your preparation time is very, very limited. We can't do anything on Sunday with goofy rules, and we've got. We try not to have to practice on Fridays, so you got, a limited amount of time, comparatively speaking. And I think that's what, that's kind of what happened. Our guys going into this ball game were kind of, wow, it really happened so quickly. And the same thing is going to take place throughout the rest of the season, bar one open date. And in this ball game, the preparation for this ball game, a lot of that time is spent traveling, and we got to go halfway across the country, and so it eats up, a substantial amount of time as well. So, we've got I guess my point is, that I told them today is too late to get started. I mean, I know they want to enjoy what's left of the weekend and all, but we've got to get started, right away, right now, on Vanderbilt film and all that goes along with it.